This bill takes an important step in establishing gun violence prevention as a permanent priority of the federal government, creating the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. And just a few weeks ago in my district, gun violence hit us really hard. 3 people were shot and killed, including a 9-year-old girl. This issue is robbing our kids of their childhoods and decimating families.
That was our country's first Gen Z member of Congress, Florida's Maxwell Frost, announcing legislation to create a federal office of gun violence prevention. And Frost spoke with the deep frustration of a generation defined by their relationship to gun violence.
Because right now, if you are a child in this country, and God forbid you died, the most likely reason would be because you were shot to death. In 2023, in the United States of America, the leading cause of death for children is gun violence. That's a policy failure. It's unacceptable.
Frost is sadly correct. Gun violence now kills more young Americans than auto accidents. And despite what used to be the case, youth gun violence is no longer declining during periods of economic growth. In short, the kids aren't all right. And proving once again that Gen Z kids don't waste any time, Frost already has 2 Senate co-sponsors for his bill, Connecticut's Chris Murphy and Richard Blumenthal. And unlike past softball proposals, Frost's bill actually has real teeth. Not only does Frost's bill finally consolidate gun violence prevention in one office, it would also fund research to fill the government's lack of understanding on gun violence overall. It would also improve how the National Criminal Background Check system works, something voters have supported for decades. And Frost isn't alone. Across the country, Democrats are winning victories that make our communities safer and reduce gun violence. It's just a shame that Democratic leaders have decided not to talk about those wins and the activists who made them possible. Take Michigan, where Democrats are on the verge of passing an 11-point gun reform package. That bill has Republicans so angry they actually compared one part of it, which would require guns to be stored safely, to the Holocaust. And speaking of tactless, far-right Congressman Thomas Massie stopped by the Laura Ingraham Nightmare Hour last week to share his unhinged thoughts on Joe Biden's gun safety proposals. It's every bit as insightful as you'd expect.
Maybe he went to Hollywood because 2 of his policies are based in science fiction. Okay, one of them is this ballistics database where you're going to take a fingerprint of a gun using the shell casing or the bullet. Look, New York and Maryland tried this program. They spent tens of millions of dollars and after 15 years never solved a single crime. So that's part of it. The other is he says he's going to go after these undetectable firearms. You know, Laura, show me a firearm that doesn't have a metal barrel or doesn't use a brass casing. Like, they don't exist.
Okay, so Thomas Massie's a big dum-dum, and here's why. We've actually had a functional plastic gun for a decade. It's called the Liberator, and the story is actually pretty interesting. But here's one fun fact you might want to know. In 2018, when plans for the Liberator were posted online, the DOJ and the State Department demanded the creator take them down. But then Donald Trump got involved, and all of a sudden, the DOJ decided it was just fine to sell blueprints for an untraceable plastic gun. That decision was so unexpected that even groups like the Second Amendment Foundation couldn't quite explain it. We asked for the moon and we figured the government would reject it, the foundation said. The government fought us all the way and then suddenly folded their tent. But all of a sudden, Thomas Massie has amnesia about everything that happened in those days.
So 2 of his policies are just science fiction. Maybe that's why he went to Hollywood.
Yeah. And just like the rest of the Republican caucus, he's marching lockstep to prevent any meaningful gun reforms from ever moving forward. Maxwell Frost is one of the few national Democrats still talking about gun reform. Maybe that's because a majority of Americans actually agree with Democratic positions on gun reform ideas. What Frost needs now is a party willing to fight for his legislation on the House floor. And hey, while you're here, check out this video to dig even deeper into what Republicans have planned for you if they win the White House in 2024. And remember to subscribe and leave a comment below so you can let me know what I should cover next.